All right. Hi there. Welcome to what we called on the calendar the Kingdom Event Planning class. This is actually we couldn't put all of the words I needed to for the title of this because this is events, your kingdom events, getting them on the calendar, getting your regular events on the kingdom calendar so you can do kingdom business, and also, by the way, how to apply for kingdom events because those are going to come up and groups like to do those. So, hi there, I am Esme Malaspina. I am currently the Central Regional Seneschal. I have also been local Seneschal of the Barony of the Steppes. And so I have been through all of this before. I've done this before, and I happen to know, looking out over this audience, that most of y'all have too. So if I get it wrong, or if you've got a question or a comment, please put up your hand so you can help me out here. I appreciate that. Okay, to start with, let's talk about, first of all, and I'm going by notes here, non-kingdom calendar events. Remember, if your stuff isn't on the calendar, you cannot do official business there. That means that if you want your people to get kingdom awards, have to invest if you have to invest in officer, anything like that, long-term significance, that can only happen at a kingdom calendar event. You can't do that at demos, you can't do that at a revel. You can still have all of those things, but if you want long lasting business to occur, it's got to be on the kingdom calendar. Um, Also, if you are trying to get your stuff on the kingdom calendar, remember all events occurring the same weekend must be a minimum distance of 150 miles apart. Um, and I am actually starting at the bottom of my notes. Let's start up at the beginning. So, so unofficial events. You can do get-togethers, you can do anything you like. They're unofficial. They don't go on the calendar. You cannot do official business there. Official events break down into your PEDs, perpetual event dates, which all groups are entitled to one per year. Non PEDs, you can have non PED events. They can be on the calendar. They can conduct official business provided they are properly advertised. And you can also just do gatherings, your holiday party, that sort of thing. It doesn't go in the Black Star, can be listed on the Kingdom calendar, but you can't do formal business there. I have a question. I believe it is 150 miles from event site. But you know what? Let's look in the Kingdom law and see if I can find that right away. By the way, if you do not have okay, all events occurring on the same weekend must be at a minimum distance of 150 miles apart. In a multi-group event, the group of records main cities must also be 150 miles apart. Okay, reading the text of that as plain language, that means that especially reading those two together, the events themselves must be physically 150 miles from each other by sight. However, in multi-group events, the group of records main cities must be 150 miles apart. So, kind of yes and no. It depends on the law, and that is in Ansteorra Kingdom Law, Section 4, Event Limits, Paragraph A. So, just so you know that. All right, back to the notes. And please, thank you for that good question because I know that's something that confuses people. A kingdom calendar event, that means it goes on the kingdom calendar. Official business can happen at it. Must be sponsored by one or more officially recognized independent branches of kingdom or by the kingdom itself and must fulfill the following criteria listed in advance on the kingdom calendar of events, either online or in the Black Star or both. An event ad detailing the date, time, and place of the event must be published in advance in the Black Star, and one or more warranted officers of the sponsoring group must be present and responsible for the conduct of the event. Really, here's the thing. Talk to your event stewards, talk to your landed, talk to everybody who is going to be involved with your event. Make sure you have got that Black Star ad in a couple of months in advance. There is no such thing as too soon. Their publishing schedule tends to be quite a ways out. And you can end up, I can't do official business at this event because I didn't get it in on time. No one wants to tell their landed or their seneschal that. It's embarrassing and it sucks. Richard?
So I have to make a comment here. This has
Please do.
nothing to do with submitting your events early. One of the things I've really noticed within the last 2 years since we came back from COVID is the inability of the kingdom to make a decision quickly as far as awarding events. So and I'll give you an example. I can submit a bid 6 months before the event for a kingdom event or any other event, and then kingdom will wait. And this is not directed to you. This is
I
directed
know.
at the process. Kingdom will wait sometimes 45 days before the actual event before they make a decision. And that can put a huge amount of stress on any local group because they don't know if they're doing it. They put a bid in, but now the whole group has to really come together very quickly because they didn't know they were doing it until you know 45 days ago.
And that's
And
particularly difficult on small groups, I know, because they may
yeah,
not have the resources, both personnel and financial, to be able to pull it together that quickly.
right. And they put the bid in thinking that something will be done in advance far enough for everybody to prepare. And what I've noticed is that's not happening. So that it's more a commentary. So it really does not matter. I won't say that that's not true. It does not matter as much how early you send in your bid for a kingdom event. It's how soon you know you're going to get the bid that makes all the difference in the world.
And that's true. And really, all you can do is make sure that you have already got your staff lined up and make sure you have your finances lined up ahead of time. Because if you don't know, you just got to be ready. And I know that sucks, but that's kingdom. You get what you get. Hello, Buffy.
Well, and the reason I bring it up is people that have asked me about this personally. And I've said, well, it is a recent trend, but you have to kind of grin and bear it. And if you don't like it, you have to express your opinion and let people know because everybody's busy. Yeah, this is a volunteer organization. Crown can't always make a decision because they're making 10 other decisions and then they've got their kids in the other room and everything is going on at the same time. We all have real lives, but it you know it seems to me that not things should have gotten easier and it seems like they've gotten harder. And because I've talked to seneschals and local groups who are not going to put any bids anymore for kingdom events because they can't wait. And it used to be that we would get an announcement, a good 2 to 3 months before the event, which allows time for groups to advertise. And because, as we all know, we don't have as many people coming to events anymore. And if you're not in a big group with a lot of local populace, you have to drum up business. And
I
but I'll
completely
stop
hear. I hear what you're saying. I get
now.
it. If you
Okay.
want to change that part of kingdom culture, talk to your, write to the official emails of the kingdom seneschal. Write to your regional, so they also write for you. Talk to their majesties. I mean, especially if you're a peer, talk to other peers, talk to their majesties. They may listen to you. Because yes, it's a problem, but it's not a problem that your average seneschal in your average barony or shire is going to be able to solve. We just kind of have to deal with it. Because
Yep.
I
No,
mean,
I
you tell
I
me
I
how to
get it.
make Crown do something. Hmm?
Yep.
So, but that said, and I hear you about kingdom events, which we are getting to as well. And I know we didn't title this class as well as we might have. It's, just for your regular local events, your PEDs, get that stuff on the calendar as soon as possible. If you already know when it's going to be, if your seneschal already knows, hey, it's like, I'm going to use steps as an example because I have been local seneschal for the steps. Every year, our non PED event is 12th night. We just had it, it's in early January. We want that thing on the calendar as soon as possible because otherwise we've ended up having to put it on New Year's Day because that is the only day that we have to hold it. Do you want to know how many people want to go to an event on New Year's Day? Your autocrat doesn't want to go to an event on New Year's Day. Get your stuff in early. You can get stuff in a year in advance. Talk to your seneschal. If you're a local seneschal, talk to your, if you have them, talk to your B&B. Otherwise, talk to your populace. Bring this up at meetings. Make sure you know when your non-PED events are going to be. Let's see here. Valerie, did you have a question or were you just popping out of? And you're muted, but I think you just said nope,
I,
just popping
I,
out.
I'm just popping in.
Okay. Um, I got a question of how far out can we ask? I believe it is still, I believe it is still 2 years out. So just talk to Kingdom Calendar if you're not sure. And like I say, I think it's 2 years because it was. And we got all of our stuff out as soon as possible because you never know and you want your populace to get awards, and especially this is critical with smaller groups that you don't have a baron and baroness. They're not giving awards to your people. The only time they are seeing someone to give their awards is going to be those events that make it onto the kingdom calendar. And if you're not on the kingdom calendar, your people aren't getting AOAs, they're not getting any of that. It's really necessary and it's so critical to reward your populace. So we have got, oh, and also don't forget to get your, don't just get it on the calendar. You've got to have your ad in the Black Star. Get that. We talked about this, but get that out as soon as possible. In fact, I would recommend when you are having people submit bids to your financial committee, you want to see that if you want to see the proposed event ad with the bid. That way it all goes in and everybody knows that it happened. Because otherwise you're scrambling at the last minute. And I don't know about you, as a local, I am not a graphic designer. I am not going to come up with a brand new Black Star ad that anyone wants to look at in 15 minutes on the last possible day that I can turn it into Black Star. Get that stuff ready as soon as possible. Valerie.
You asked me a question and then I didn't have anything and then I just thought of something. Being somebody that did do a kingdom event last year, I did autocratic kingdom arts and sciences. I would say a high recommendation is make sure you have a pre-staff in place ahead of time. Talk to all the people to fill in the boxes and have that set up before you even put in your bid, because that's one of the things that I do, and it seems to work so much better that you're not scrambling at the last minute trying to find people.
Well, and it also makes your bid look better because, if they talk to you, which they're going to, it's going to be no, I've already got people staffing this and this and this. Do we need someone else staffing? Have we have we got all of our stuff in a row? Because they want to know that if they give you this event, it's going to go out smoothly. They run a great deal of it depending on what the event is, but nonetheless, they want to know that you can do it and that you've got plans in place. And yeah, you might be doing it kind of quick. Plan far ahead. Um, all right. Let's see. Really, that pretty much is the, if you want your stuff on the calendar, if you want to make sure it is an official event, that's most of the important stuff. So let's talk about kingdom events. Well, it's all of that was in the notes that Her Grace gave me from when she had taught this class. So I wanted to make sure that I got the calendar stuff out of the way and the official event stuff out of the way because that's something that confuses new locals sometimes. And it can leave, if you are new at it, it can leave you scrambling. And if you don't have someone who's already been through this above you, again, it's, I feel for people in small groups who, oh my gosh, we finally got we got someone into the seneschal job and you don't have like landed who've already been through this going, okay, have you done this? Have you done this? They're kind of having to do it themselves. You need to know how to get your events on the calendar or you don't get any awards. Um, okay, reoccurring kingdom events. Those major events that occur in the kingdom are hosted by an officially recognized branch or by such persons as the crown and kingdom seneschal designate. Here I am reading from kingdom law. The second weekend of each month is reserved for the placement of these recurring events, including crown and coronation. That means if you are looking for something else to do on those events, um, you're not going to get your non PED on those events. Those events are reserved for crown. You're not doing anything else for those. Um, the kingdom seneschal or a delegated representative is responsible for requesting bids. That said, don't wait for those requests to come out. You know coronation is coming. You know Queen's Champion is coming. You know all of these things are coming. If your group wants to do one, start talking about that ahead of time. Start going, hey, it's a lot of people have, say, an in case of peerage plan, have an in case of we want to apply for this plan. Already have some people tapped. Figure out how you're paying for that. Remember that Kingdom can advance you funds for that. Um, let's see. Any local branch wishing to host a reoccurring Kingdom event should submit a bid with a budget to the Crown, the Kingdom Seneschal, the Kingdom Chancellor of the Exchequer, and other Kingdom officers as appropriate. Keep in mind you also must have some planned children's activities. That is in the law. I know that it seems like lately I haven't always seen them, but that is in the law. If you want to make a bid for a Kingdom event, you need to have children's activities. Um, the site fee for minors at a Kingdom event, at a reoccurring Kingdom event, is for 17 and under is free of charge. So also keep that in mind. We want people to have their kids there. Kids are our future. Um, At the end of the event, a complete financial report, including copies of all income received, must be submitted to the Kingdom Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Kingdom Seneschal within 1 month. So, that said, also keep in mind that any profit that you make from a Kingdom event, Kingdom gets 50% of. It's in the law. Be aware. That said, since a lot of people come to these can be a good profit opportunity for a small group if you can get the funds advanced and if you have enough personnel to do it. And remember, you don't have to just do that with people in your group. Look outside your group. Have you got another small group anywhere close to you? Have you got a bigger group with a lot of people who play Kingdom? Ask for help. You can get that. People want to. I'm looking here for anything else that really is just like in the boilerplate of stuff to say. And really, that's kind of what I've got. So, questions, comments, smartass remarks. Give me a hand here.
I got questions, comments. I don't know that I have anything smart ass remarks though.
Richard, I was counting on you for that.
So one of the things that for anybody here that's part of a small group, now I don't know if anybody here is, but if you're part of a small group, it's we all know how hard it is to get people to work together and get people to come to an event because we all have real lives going on and putting in a bid for an event whether it's local or kingdom is a big deal and people are usually willing to commit if they know they're going to get a bid. So one of the things you can do when you put in your bid is have a date time saying, I need to know if I'm getting this bid by X. Now, Kingdom usually doesn't like that, but the point here is that you're taking care of your populace and they have lives and they're willing and that's part of the issue with Kingdom waiting until 45 days before the event to make notice is it kind of excludes small groups from supporting the event. And I challenge you to go look at past kingdom events and see where they've been held, if they've been held by shires or baronies. And I think what you're going to find is most of them are baronies. And it's not because small groups don't want to do them, but by and I don't want to say the same, but using the time frame that's currently being used, they kind of are kind of excluded from that because they need more lead time. But you can set that up when you put in your bid. So that's something I wanted to share.
No,
And
I agree with you on that. And I mean, yeah, if you look at it, especially you see kingdom events like Coronation, Crown Tournament, Queen's
Queen's
Champion,
Champion, yeah,
that kind of stuff, really disproportionately falling into things, places like Central Region and big baronies like Steps, Elpsea. And I mean, Bonwick also counts, but I think Steps ends up with a lot of them because we are right in the middle and a lot of major highways go through us. And also, we have the personnel and the funds. But that's not fair when you consider that some smaller groups, I mean, honestly, the profit's nice for a big group, but these smaller groups, that could be game changing for them if they can just get the bid and have enough people to get it done.
I was going to say you made the point that a lot of the kingdom events are hitting in the central region. And one of the things that we in Brindalad, so Austin, have done, even though we're not that far south, we will host an hour or two north of us to get it more to the central so our northern friends can actually come down to it. But it really makes it hard to have a kingdom event in, Seawinds or North Keep because you're
yep.
talking further away than Gulf Wars to go to a local event. It's rough. So that's our compromise is we always look up to Waco if we're going to put in a kingdom event, just on the hope that it might be a little bit more enticing.
And I get that because it is unfair, but it's geography.
But it means that we have a lot of people who totally want to help out, but we seem to never get the bids. So, you central region groups, hey, talk to us, see if we want to help out when you're putting those bids in. Because that's something I always have people like, I've put in 4 bids for Queens and we haven't gotten it and that sort of stuff. I've heard that from people.
You know, that's an excellent point to make because even in larger groups, you find that you have a small core of people who are doing a lot of the work and who are autocrating the events and who are slowly but surely burning out and who are going to absolutely no longer be willing to do that because I did the last 3 and I'm tired and I just want to go to an event. So that is also an awesome idea of talk to people who put it out into into your region and your friends and even outside your region of hey, we're doing this, we need some help.
Mhm.
And put it out on I need volunteers to staff these positions for a potential kingdom event. Put it out on the kingdom group, put it out on your Discord because that seems to be where all the young people who are so eager to get involved are. I
So much energy.
Oh, I love them, and they exhaust me. Okay, Ravensfort, you have a hand up.
Yeah, I have actually a very basic question, which is going to sound, I know, kind of silly, but where do you find when event bids are actually due? Because a lot of times I'm seeing posts, but it's like event bids are closing down today or tomorrow or something like that. I'm not finding when they're open, or is it general open and you can do it at any point in time and then there's a cutoff date?
Um, I normally would think that would go out on the if I've seen those, it should be out on the official channels. So out on the official Kingdom Facebook group because I hear what you're saying. And usually, I mean, if nothing else, assume again, we know these events are going to happen. Assume that say a new crown steps up. Okay, you see somebody is just one crown. You know they're going to need a coronation. You know they are going to need a queen's champion. You know all of the stuff that they are going to need because it happens every year. Have bids ready and go ahead and just send them up to Kingdom. Go, okay, it's time to do this. We have one coming up. Send it up. And I mean, if you're putting in a bid from somewhere in northern Vindheim and say your crown is somewhere down in Bringelod, that's probably not who they're going to pick, but it may be no one else puts in a bid. Be ready.
Well, I have a comment. Sorry, and
Of course.
that's to Kofina. And uh, Seneca brought up a very good point, and that is it possible that we could get an update to the Kingdom calendar that say, bids are due uh, for Queen's Champion, Crown Tourney, Coronation, and have that listed on the calendar along with dates. So everybody knows they have to have bids by X date. Now the Crown can always make an exception, but the the, uh, the general term it used to be, and this is age old, is it used to be 3 months at least before the event, and yeah, Jillian, I see your post. I'm not trying to make things more confusing. I'm trying to answer. It's something that everybody looks at, and if we had a line that said bids are due, and you had a date, I think that would answer and ease some confusion because with all the Facebook algorithms, you don't always get the notice that you should, even when it's posted to the Kingdom Facebook page.
Well, and following up on that, I think even if it was put like where it says the day for crown tournament, just a little line, and also who the event bid would need to go to, because especially if we're looking at folks who've never put a bid in or they're a smaller area, they're not even going to know who necessarily to put the bid in
Right.
to.
And that's the reason I said if it was on and it used to be, it was a long time ago. Um, but that's just a suggestion. It's not, and it's something I'll share with the crown too, because it makes um it easier for everybody if anybody has a question, they know they need to have a bid in by X date.
And if that is on the Kingdom calendar, I don't know where it is. And that's saying something. And I do also agree with the person who commented that Facebook is a terrible
It is.
communication
Yeah.
tool for getting stuff out to everybody because
Hmm.
everyone doesn't see the same timeline.
Yep.
It's the algorithm gods give and they take away. So it's very hard to make sure that people see stuff. Now, I also will say if you are going, okay, we want to do this, we're interested, just go on purpose to the Kingdom group and go, okay, do I see anything for this? Because sometimes that's the only way you see it. But I am also taking notes on comments for this kind of thing. I don't think she is. I'm sorry, Gillian just asked if the Kingdom event deputy was here. I do not believe that she is. But I am taking comments for this because, yes, it would be nice if somewhere we could say, okay, Kingdom events, when are the due dates for the bids? Go here. Here's the link. Any other questions or comments? Sherry.
Hi. So, would it be helpful to know that those concerns about the calendar and the closeness of the bids and events and everything has been brought to the Crown? Because I
It
feel
would
like
be.
it's been a big concern. And I
We
totally,
don't want to beat up on Crown here, okay? If nothing else,
right.
they can beat up on us. They're good at it.
But there was that discussion even this morning about the fact that we used to have the due dates listed on the calendar and the fact that that did go away. So I believe there is that hope to get that back on the Kingdom calendar, and also open up the bids much earlier. So like even talking about getting Coronation and Queen's Champion opened up as soon as possible. So I just want you to know that is something that is being worked on.
Well, and that's really good because this is, especially like we said, harder on smaller groups. Because a
Mhm.
big group, I mean, if I go to the Steps business meeting this coming Tuesday and say, "Hey, y'all want to do the next Queen's Champion? Here's my site, here's my bid." I mean, they're going to go, "When is it?" And I'm going to go, "I don't know, but let's go ahead and put together a budget." And they're going to go, "Okay," because they know they've got the staffing and the people.
Right. Well, and I'm in Namron, so we have lots of folks, but we're also trying to help our other groups. So Oak
Which is
Spring,
good.
we want Oak Spring to have that. Score Guard is dormant right now, but we want to give them the opportunities
Yes.
for those things too. And so it's totally valid concerns, and I think it will be improving. It's just I have a feeling it's something that with the pandemic and coming back out of that, everything just sort of had to be shifted, and it never really got back to where we were prior to.
Well, and we also, I think, kind of had an attitude of, doesn't matter, we're not doing it anyway, it's just going to get canceled. And
For
I
a
know
while it was.
it was. And so then it became a, no, just get stuff in, make it happen. It's fine. We need it now. Why? Because we need it now. Didn't we used to have a procedure for this? Yeah, we did, but right now we need to do this.
Yeah.
And let's I love seeing us come out of emergency mode and back into routine mode.
Yes. I think we all feel like that, but it's, you know, we're going to have to get over those stumbling blocks. And I think it's happening. It is, but totally, it is something that there are frustrations across the board. So
Sure.
it is being worked on.
And when it happens, let's make sure we post it in as many places as possible so everybody sees it.
Yeah.
And make sure, especially make sure that, I would say, make sure that your regionals are affirmatively told about this. Like have Kingdom Seneschal send out an email saying, all of you need to know because people will ask you this. And that way they can go, oh, here's the link for that. So you have, if you're Central Regional, somebody from Rosenfeld drops you a line and says, "Hey, when is the Queen's bid due?" Oh, Mifan, we just sent. Her Grace just sent that out. I know we just changed, but we just sent that out. So yes, I have that right here because you want to make sure people don't have to hunt for it. If it's in their email, if it's in your official Google email, it's easy to find because you just search and go, oh, here that is. Here it is. But
Well,
make sure it's as well publicized as possible to specific people to whom the question is going to be asked. That's my opinion. Okay, anything? Anyone else? Lisa.
Hi. I'd like to, taking off on a tangent relative to that, for events, I've found it very useful to, whether you have a social media officer or not, having somebody in place for your event to promote that in as many places as possible, as consistently as possible, is very helpful in getting words out. Because even if people can't make it, it gives you visibility, especially for events that are long term and repeating. And since we're talking about Kingdom events in particular, it's very helpful. I've also noticed as Hospitaller of Bonwick that there's many of our local groups across the kingdom that have had a massive influx of newcomers, and helping them become familiar with our regularly occurring events is very helpful in helping integrate them into what we do and when we do it and kind of how our internal culture works. So, um, again, even if you don't have an SMO at the local level, if you have somebody and it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody who's on every platform, but if you can find a couple of people, say somebody's um, does really well with Discord, somebody else does well with Facebook, asking them to promote whatever it is that you're doing is very helpful in terms of communicating with populace and potential attendees.
I am super glad you brought that up because one of the important things that doesn't always get it isn't just it's important that things go in the Black Star. Richard, I will get to you in a moment. It is important that things go in the Black Star, but honestly, I'm looking at all of y'all going, how many of y'all have read the Black Star lately? And of those who have, how many of you are under 40? That is not necessarily where people look. I read it. I also read all of my local newsletters. But you got to get the word for this event. You got to cover getting your official word out. And then you got to get the word out to your potential attendees. Put it everywhere. And if you have a social media officer, use them. Go, I need this spammed everywhere in the region. Make sure everyone knows we're having this awesome event. Tell them why they should come. Make sure it goes on the Kingdom page. Make sure it goes everywhere, because if it's not on your Facebook, and you as well in a moment, Valerie, because I know what you've been up to lately too. It's got to be on your Facebook. And also, if you aren't on Discord, you aren't reaching anyone under 40. That is absolutely a thing you need to understand. Get a Discord server, get someone who knows how to do that, and get your event notices out on Discord. Join the Discords in your region. Make sure that you are absolutely covering all of that, because that is where your notices and where your ads need to be going. Okay, Richard, you were first.
Oh no, I was just going to echo what Lisa was saying. So, and what you were saying, Esme, and that is, due to COVID, our attention spans are very small and short, and we rely on social media and media period to let us know when things are going on. So the only way you can get your event in front of other people is do exactly what Esme said. That is, you know, put your information on Discord, create a Facebook event, and then I've done the laborious task of joining every Facebook group for every group in Ansteorra and then posting the event there.
I have
Now,
as well.
and I know people don't like that. I mean, they say that's too much going on, and I understand that point of view because there are people who attend or are signed on to multiple groups. I get it, but when it's coming to sharing your event your information for your event, we really don't have much choice other than Facebook at the moment, because most other groups, especially small groups, they may have a Facebook page, but they don't have Discord server, and you can't just send everything to the Seneschal. I mean, that doesn't help advertise your event. And but it's anyway.
But
That's how you can spread the word. Sorry, go ahead.
and thank you, Richard, because yes, it's important. We do have to spread the word, and it needs to go as many places as possible. You want people to come to your event. Oddly enough, I learned that in an event autocrating class from some guy named Richard. So, Valerie, you were next. Valerie, you're muted.
I hate that. I have a husky and she was barking and I forgot I muted it. But what I did is I put together people that are specifically to do that. I have my spammer person who does all my Facebook stuff, sets up the website, does everything, and then I have somebody to do all the event ads. It's kind of part of when you're getting a staff. If you have somebody that's savvy in all of this stuff, just get those people together to make sure that you have that, like the inner workings of a clock working. Um, and that makes your events run smoother. Another thing is during the pandemic, I took a class from Katerina Giovanni on event planning, and it has, I don't know if there's a copy of it still on the Service Minded Individuals Facebook page, but it had documents on it, which I use religiously, that breaks down every part of an event, and it's very helpful.
Thank you. I didn't know that she taught one of those. I'm going to ask her about that. Next hand up was the Seneschal of Bringalad.
Hello, I'm doing totally credit Colfina, or Kingdom Web Minister, because she set this up in Bringalodge. But one of the big issues we've always had with communication is getting information out of date. If you're posting the information in your Discord, in your Facebook, anything like that, I try and get my autocrats always to only post a link to the web page. The web page has all of the information. All of your social medias are just a link into the web page. So it's, hey, class schedule's updated. Here's a link to the web page. That way, when something changes, you're not having to go and fix it, or someone is looking at an old copy of it. We have also set it up so that if I make a post to our web page on WordPress, it actually pushes out to both Discord and Facebook. I'm old, I don't Discord a whole lot, so I can just make a WordPress post and it gets out to my Discord people without me ever having to log into that and remember to check over there, and Facebook as well. Again, this is trying to make it equitable for however people consume the information, whether it's on Discord or Facebook or on the web page. That is one of the big pushes that I've tried to do, and successful or not, I don't know, but I like it, at least from my perspective.
No, that's excellent. And I think I knew you could do that, but I don't really WordPress. So
Talk to
that is some,
Colfina, she's awesome.
and I believe her hand was up next, and I bet she has comments about that.
Yeah, I had two things now to bounce off of what Nikay's is talking about. I mentioned a little bit in my web ministers class this morning about the tool that I use to set up that cross posting is called Zapier. And there were several web ministers who were interested in having more of like a deep dive kind of walkthrough meeting on that. So I'm probably going to schedule something soon, and I can push that out so that anybody who's interested in learning how that works can learn about it and see if it would play well with your groups. Because I'm a big fan of, post it in one spot and let it automatically push out to your endpoints, because that is a lot simpler. So I'm also very pro that. And then the second thing, this is kind of going back to what somebody mentioned before, of like the importance of like creating a Facebook event for your whatever your group is hosting. I want to echo the voice of our Kingdom social media officer real quick, that if you're hosting events that are on the Kingdom calendar, contact the Kingdom social media officer to create that event, because there's policies around how they have to be created off of Kingdom pages. And it's currently Koya can set those up very, very quickly. But if you just go off making events, she's going to have to come back behind you and say, no, delete it. You got to create it the right way. So it'll save you a lot of time. Just reach out to KSMO just for the Kingdom calendar events. So.
Now, thank you for mentioning that, because it's so important to have a Facebook event. And yeah, Facebook is kind of turning into old people social media, I know, but we can use it as official communication. But if you have those Facebook events, then it is easier to find your event and to find your links. But yeah, make sure if it's a Kingdom event, which technically this class is at least half about, then make sure that you have talked to Kingdom SMO, because if you haven't, yeah, no one wants to go, no, don't look at that event, look at this one. I'm sorry you saved that information. It's embarrassing. Valerie, you had another comment?
One thing that I learned when I did Kingdom events is talk to your local hotel people. They will help you put together blocks of rooms and give discounts, and it doesn't cost anything to do it. You just call them, you let them know the dates of your event. They will set that up for you, and it's great. It's actually a really good pull to get more people to come to your event.
I don't think it had occurred to me to do that, and that is such a good and obvious idea. Thank you so much for saying that. Richard,
So just going back off what Valerie is saying, so the local chamber of commerce, wherever is closest to your site, will actively contact hotels for you instead of you doing it, as long as you can give them an idea of how many people will be attending, because they will use that to contact local merchants and say, on this day, this group is bringing 50, 100, however many, and they do a lot of the work for you. So, and usually the Chamber of Commerce has all the contacts for you. They can provide you a list of hotels, restaurants, or whatever you need. So it stops you from having to actually try to look everything up yourself and then make cold calls. It's just a way to work a little better, faster. That's all.
that is also a genius idea that it never occurred to me to try. So I'm really glad both of y'all mentioned that. Okay, we're at about 10 minutes to the hour, and that means that I know people are going to want to. Let me see, what are we doing next? Is the next thing a
Lunch break.
lunch break?
Yeah,
Okay.
lunch break.
So if we still have stuff to say, we can certainly go all the way up to the hour instead of worrying that everyone needs a refill their drink break in between classes. But just to like sum up what we have done so far. So I went kind of at a run, but went through everything, but everything as far as like how to um how to make sure your stuff gets on the calendar. We talked about kingdom events and the issues of trying to get a kingdom event in on time when we don't always know in a timely fashion when we are going to need those events. And then finally, y'all turned this into a super, really great discussion about getting your event out on social media and not just on kingdom channels to make sure that people come to your event, because you absolutely want people to come. It's more fun for everybody. This is why we hold events. You don't want to give a party and nobody comes. So we've had some excellent ideas here, and I would like to see us all build on this. So thank you. Have we any last thoughts, comments, or questions?
So I'll add one last thing, and I'm sorry to keep talking. I apologize. It's not because I like talking, but one of the things that people, especially in small groups, that's going to help you if you want people to travel to your event is find a way to coordinate crash space. We all know that, and I speak for this because I play in Bonwick. Traveling to Bonwick takes time and money. That it is just to get there, and it's for anyone in the DFW anywhere. It's anywhere from 5 to 6 hours drive time. Well, that means you cannot really day trip the event, and it also means that you're going to have to stay someplace. Well, not everybody has the money for a hotel room, and if there's crash space available, that makes the attendance at your event that much higher. And then you also get to meet people from different areas of the kingdom, which is always good in my personal opinion. But others might disagree. But try to do that. That will help your group, and it'll help your bid at the same time.
That's true. And I like that. And we've fallen out of this idea of crash space because, I mean, when I was young and super poor, it was like, oh my God, who do I know next to this event? We've got to have someone to stay with because hotels, yeah, that's for people who are rich and have real jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's something that I'm seeing coming back with people, and I'm pleased to see it because it's again, this is how we keep our newcomers engaged. Also, that's a real enrichment to your tournament and to your event when newer people have better access to it. I mean, you want to see somebody who, okay, they're not going to win queens or crown this time, but give them a couple of years. um make it easy for these guys to get these people, because it's not just the guys anymore. Make it easy for these people to get to your event and to play in your tournament, because you're going to get better attendance, and also it's good for all of us. Okay, well, I think we can stop the recording, such as it's been, and just go. Thank you all for having been here. Thank you especially for all your comments and questions, and thank you for the really great discussion that's come out of this, because I think you made it a much better class than I simply had notes for, and I appreciate that.